the people oftentimes who are talking the loudest, they really don't know that much. Oftentimes they know the least, because for most of their lives, they have just been yelling their opinions at other people.
It's this weird duality between you have your truth and then you have the truth, and you have your perspective, but then you have accurate thinking. And so how do you reconcile these things?
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was number 993. What agreements have you made with yourself? Today, for episode number 994, happy Monday, how others' opinions shape your life. So, I use this analogy quite often when I am on other podcasts. And I said it recently here, but I want to reiterate because it's very appropriate for this episode. When you are born, and even when you're young, when you're born, you're in soil. You are planted in soil. You are a mere seed, and you do not have the opportunity to control the soil that you're put in. And what happens is you're watered and you're fed different nutrients, and that becomes the scope that you live your life through. But what is being poured onto you is a lot of people's opinions. It's been a long day. And I think that those opinions run your life until you realize, oh, you know what? It's not a fact that I can't go back to school. It's not a fact that I'm not smart enough. It's not a fact that I'm shy or I can't be a speaker. Those are people's opinions. Those are people's opinions that they made facts in their lives that I then adopted as a fact. I love my Mima. Shout out to Mima, my grandmother. I lived with her and my mom for most of my life. You know, when I was younger, I was raised by them. And when I left my job, I remember I went over to see them. And I was so afraid. I was like, oh my God, they do not want to hear what I'm about to say. And I remember saying, yeah, I left my job. And my grandmother was like, what? What do you mean? You left your job? What are you going to do? And I said, well, you know, I left my job and we're going to do this podcast thing, I think. I think we're going to really go all in on this. You know, I love it. I love talking to people, and we're having a wonderful change in the world. We're making change and we're impacting people and we're getting all these awesome messages from people. I think we're going to do that. And I remember when she said, Kev, you got to get a job. You're not going to be able to do this podcast thing for a job. You were making $100,000 last year. What do you mean? And I said to my grandmother, I said, Mima, I love you. I do. I love you so very much, but I will never punch another time card for somebody else in my effing life. I will die before I do that. And if I took my grandmother's opinion as a fact, we would not be here today. At least I wouldn't. I'm sure Alan would still be doing something. He wouldn't be as cool or as good of a podcaster because he wouldn't have me to work with. But you really have to understand that the people oftentimes who are talking the loudest, they really don't know that much. Oftentimes they know the least, because for most of their lives, they have just been yelling their opinions at other people. And if you are out there and you're a dream chaser, there's going to be a lot of people who throw their opinions on you, both positive and negative. Some people are going to say, hey, you're going to crush it. You need to take time off, all these things. There's a lot of different opinions that we get. I don't know what the percentage is of opinions versus facts, but you got to understand a lot of people are throwing things your way and they don't have any proof to back it up. All they have is their life experience or things that they've gone through or ideas that they have or fears or limiting beliefs. And just because they're throwing them at you does not mean you need to take them as fact, because more often than not, they're not facts. To the point where I want you, if you're listening to this episode or our podcast in general, I want you to make sure that you're thinking for yourself. That you're saying, you know what, is that actually a fact, what Kev just said? Is that a fact, what Alan just said? Or is that an opinion? Because if you're allowing our opinions to shape you, I like to think it's in a positive way because that's one of our goals, but you really have to run that through your own mind to figure out, is this a fact? Is this an opinion? How heavy am I holding this weight? Is this affecting my life in this way? You really have to get clear on those things.
I think that intelligent decision making has to be based on accurate data and accurate thinking. And I wrote this down: opinions are everywhere, but achievement is a science. One of the reasons why I love the book Mindset by Carol Dweck that we're reading in book club right now is that Carol Dweck is not stating her opinions. She's talking about these studies that she's done with hundreds of thousands of people, or hundreds and thousands. So hundreds of people, studies that are done over years of research. And I really like research-based perspectives because they're based on data. So for example, I was on the phone with a client earlier, and he's trying to be more consistent in the gym. And his gym is one of those gyms, Kev, that is like always changing their hours.
Oh, brutal.
Sometimes, see? Okay. So it's like, oh, sometimes it's open on the holidays, sometimes it's not. COVID hours change, and then they never changed back, and they're changing their hours all the time. And I said, I've fitness coached for years, and I've helped people be consistent in fitness for years. And I've seen dozens of people, and I have all the data to show that because we do peak performance tracking. I'm telling you, there's a direct correlation based on data between a 24-hour gym and how consistent a human will be. Because when the mood strikes, you can just go, and it creates certainty. If you have uncertainty about whether or not your gym's even going to be open, it's going to create reluctance, and you're going to be less consistent. And I remember at one point, Kev, I had Crunch Fitness, I had Anytime Fitness, and I had Impact. Because when we traveled, I wanted certainty that we would be able to find a gym, and we never miss a workout on the road. I don't want to say never, but almost never. Yeah. And I told this person, I said, this is not my opinion. I have a lot of data backing up the fact that, in all honesty, I don't think you're going to be consistent at going to the gym if you have a gym that has poor hours. Like, if it closes early and you work late, you know, this person sleeps in and works late into the evening, he's a coder, you're not going to be able to be consistent when you have a gym that closes at 7 p.m. You know, and that's not my opinion. It's based on data. And in a way, I guess it's my perspective of the data. And I'll tell this story quickly too. I told Emilia, I'm in front of the whiteboard, and I said, one of the reasons I love mathematics so much is because no matter what country you're from, no matter what background, no matter what your ethnicity is, 2 plus 2 is always 4. If an alien came down from another planet, 2 plus 2 is still going to be 4. And we had this really beautiful little mini rumble about math versus perspective and truth, real truth versus like someone else's truth. And it was interesting. I was like right there in front of the whiteboard, and we've got a kitchen table right there. And I'm like, how many calculators are there on the table right now? And she's like, well, it depends. Is your phone a calculator? And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, crap, because there was a calculator, and then there was my phone, and then there was other stuff on the table. And I'm like, that's a good point. Do you consider the phone a calculator? Because if you do, there's 2. And so it's this weird duality between you have your truth, and then you have the truth, and you have your perspective, but then you have accurate thinking. And so how do you reconcile these things? Right now on these microphones, there are 2 individuals, Kevin and myself. There are certain things that are facts, and then there's other things that are opinions. And you have to be really, really good at sniffing out what the opinions are and what the scientific facts are so that you can make really good decisions. I can think of a lot of different examples, but I want to actually turn the tables here and ask you, Kev. In hindsight, when it comes to the last 5 years of you and I growing and scaling a business and a podcast, we've gotten a lot of advice from a lot of people. Some of it's really good advice in hindsight, and some of it is not. And I think part of the journey of growth is really trying stuff and realizing what has merit and what doesn't. But what's some things that you were told, like a few sentences that in hindsight really were opinions and not facts?
Oh, man. Really put me on the spot here. I don't know if I have like any specifics. I know if you're watching or listening, this might blow your mind, but I remember very little from our podcast interviews. Genuinely. Not that I didn't learn stuff, but it's usually like It's like a theme more than anything. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it. We had somebody on the podcast one time who said, yeah, when I changed my mindset, the weight started melting off. And I am frustrated with myself that I did not have the courage to say, well, what else did you do though? Like, did you, you know what I mean? Did you,
Yeah.
So if you were depressed and you were in a negative place in your life, were you drinking and partying more than usual? And then you stopped doing that because that would lead to weight seeming like it, just that. That's not a scientific fact. That's an opinion or an experience or a perspective that somebody had. That for me, we've had a couple of those. We've had, several times where there's been people that say things and Alan and I might not have the courage to call them out because we don't want to break rapport on the air in front of everybody, but we've had those moments. That's one that jumps off the page to me of, well, I've been studying. I mean, I was a certified personal trainer that studied the facts in order to pass the test, and I've trained people and gotten people really good results. Alan has too. That's an opinion. That's an opinion. That's a belief. That's not a fact. It's not a fact. That's not how it works. That's not the way the human body works. But it's very difficult because that makes you, and really think about this, if you're out there, that makes you feel a certain way of like, wow, if I get in alignment, I'll start losing weight. It's like, no, that's not, if being in alignment means self-care and doing the right things and being nutritious and feeding your body, sure, maybe, yeah. But it's not a fact that if you get in alignment with your spiritual self, you're going to lose weight. It's just not a fact.
Right.
If you eat in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight.
Hello, my name's Eddie Pinero. I'm the founder of Your World Within, and I wanted to take a second and just express how valuable working with Alan has been, both personally and professionally. I think his ability to help me create clarity and maintain focus on my big picture goals has been huge. But also, and this is just as important, he's been a huge asset with the roadmap as well. The day-to-day things, the little things that we sometimes overlook. And those two things in tandem have been a huge lift and just a tremendous return on investment. And I think anyone looking to, grow themselves, grow a business or both, would truly benefit from having Alan as an ally along the way. Again, great mind, but more importantly, solid dude.
I had someone one time say that they were burning 6,000 calories per day and still not losing weight. And they were only eating 3,000 calories per day. And mathematically, my mind went, no. Because if you intake 3,000 and you burn 6,000, that means you're in a 3,000 calorie deficit. You would lose weight.
Right.
And that's not my opinion. That's the law of thermodynamics. That's how energy works. You're not going to put a certain amount of gas in the car and then be able to get twice as much energy out of it. And so I think to really bring this, how others' opinions shape your life, home here, you have to make decisions based on truth, and sometimes that truth is uncomfortable. And I think that a lot of us are stating opinions that really don't hold up. Elon Musk talks a lot about first principles. So, for example, gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. That's not my opinion. That's been proven over and over and over and over and over and over again in science. If you are making decisions based on perspectives, I'll give you this example. Kevin and I, let's say hypothetically, we go to a party. And it's a big party, tons of friends, we have a blast, but I get in a fight behind the scenes that only a certain amount of people saw. And I get punched in the face. And I leave that party thinking it was a terrible experience. But imagine Kevin never saw the fight, never even knew there was a fight, because it was so quick. Kevin's going to leave saying, that party was awesome. It was a great party. See, we are walking away with two different opinions. The facts are, there was a party and there was a fight. The opinions are Kevin enjoyed himself and thinks it was a great party. I have a skewed biased perspective and got punched in the face, and I think it was a bad party. So next time we go to make a decision on whether or not to go back to that party, I'm going to say no and you're going to say yes, and neither one of us is actually accurate. It's just based on perspective. And so the world is really drowning in opinions, but starving for scientific fact. So how many opinions, for our listener, how many opinions have you actually internalized as true, especially the opinions of our parents? I mean, one of the most drastic challenges that I've faced in my adult life after my 30s is looking back at all of the people in my life and the way in which they made their decisions and realizing that a large majority of their decision-making paradigm was not based on any facts. And that's okay. We're all human. We're all imperfect, myself included. But it's been really hard for me to witness how many of the things that I was told or conditioned to believe are actually inaccurate, like very inaccurate. I have one client who's drop dead gorgeous who believes she's not attractive because she's constantly criticized by certain family members. And all of what we believe is kind of an opinion in a way. It's like an amalgamation of our surroundings' opinions. I have some people who think they are so awesome and so attractive, and quite frankly, they're kind of not. And then I have some people who think they're not valuable and not attractive, that are gorgeous and intelligent and amazing. And I just think at the end of the day, my only objective, it isn't whether you're better than or worse than or any of that crap. It's really just like, how accurate can you be in your thinking? Because if you believe that there are diamonds in your lawn and you spend your life digging up your own lawn to find diamonds, there's something that you need a reality check. There's no diamonds in your lawn. But at the same time, if you say there's no diamonds anywhere ever, you're also wrong. And by wrong, I mean you're not accurate. And I think people have a bad relationship with wrong, like right and wrong. But I think accurate, optimal. And I remember I told Kevin this one time. I said, Kev, I'm never fully right, but I'm almost never fully wrong. And what I was trying to explain is that I'm always trying to be more accurate in my thinking. That's really the through line, is how accurate can you get in your thinking? And I think that's what learning is. You know, I don't know anyone who knows everything about business. No one. I know some people who know more than other people do, but they're still learning. And it's a process that never stops, whether it's fitness. I mean, I know more about fitness now than I did 10 years ago. I'll know more about fitness in 5 years than I do now. And I think that's what growth is getting a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more accurate in your thinking so that you can make better choices. And when you make better choices, you get better results. And then you can kind of continue to hone that. I mean, that's the last thing I'll say here is Kevin and I coming up on 1,000 episodes. That's the lesson. We could never have just talked to Kevin and I 5 years ago and been like, okay, boom, 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 boom. Here's what you need to know. Good luck. It's like, yeah, it would have helped accelerate things, but it's not going to, you can't just like wake up with all the awareness. It really has to be through trial and error, at least to some extent, but also knowing that you can accelerate that process through the accumulated wisdom of books and mentors and coaches and all that stuff. So I think at the end of the day, how do you separate the trivial opinions from the actual scientific facts that have merit based on, over time? No matter what part of the world you're in, 9.8 meters per second squared is gravity. It's no one's opinion. It's just a fact. And if you don't know that, you might make some poor decisions. And I think that's just kind of the through line here of this episode.
There's a guy I follow. I share his content pretty frequently. His name's Dr. Lane Norton. And I don't know, he's a very, very, very well-documented nutritional PhD. I don't know exactly what his PhD is in, specifically in nutrition, but he always shares this garbage stuff that people post that is taken as fact. And he rips it apart and says there's no studies. And this is his thought. This is his principle. There's no studies that prove this. There are no studies on human beings that say blank, 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 but these people aren't telling you that. They're saying, well, my product fixes this, right? So it's almost like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we would ever create something like that, but it's almost like, imagine if, I don't know, because I can't think of something that's not real and then try to make something real about it. But a lot of the things he does is like the diets. You know, this person will come out with a supplement that says it fixes a problem that isn't real. It's an opinion. The opinion is, well, this causes insert disease. Then there's a double opinion of this product solves the cause of this disease. And his whole thing is basically myth busting that's not real. And we're in this time now where if somebody has a platform, they can give you an opinion that is taken as a fact. And again, I want you to do the same with us. I really do. I want you to say, well, is that their opinion or is that a fact? Is that an opinion or is that a fact? Is that a misbelief? Is that a limiting belief? Are they missing something? Is it a blind spot? It's so important to do your own due diligence in whatever way that is for you.
Kev, what's an opinion? I know we got to go. What's an opinion that you had someone share with you about podcasting that is just, after 1,000 episodes, just absolutely crap? The
number one is you can't make money.
Right.
You know, you can't make money. You can genuinely, you can pretty much make money in anything if you understand how to make money. You know what I mean? I was on the phone. We have a new client that's starting with us soon. He's a 23-year-old entrepreneur who founded a tech company, I believe. And I said, you're going to be fine because you understand business. You understand business. You know how to run a business. So you're going to be totally fine. It'll be way easier for you. But my belief is that if you understand certain things, you can make money with anything.
Kev, what if we had a super successful podcast and business, and then you and I just told people like, well, you know what it was? We just jumped on the mics and we were really funny.
Yeah.
I think that's what did it. We were really funny. You know, just a couple good-hearted, funny guys. See how causation and correlation are not accurate? That's not what did it. That's not what made the difference.
Yeah.
That might be one tiny factor. That might be 1/1000th of the equation, but it's not the whole equation. And I think that's the last thing I say, I promise. Don't take what one person says as the entire equation when in reality it's probably 1/100th or 1/1000th of the equation. That's like saying, you know what I did to get fit? I drank about 1 gallon a day for like 6 months. Okay, that would help a little bit. But that's not the whole equation. Did you also work out every day? Did you also eat in a caloric deficit? Did you also do mobility and foam rolling? Did you also get good sleep? See, I like equations. Equations are based on scientific fact, and they're repeatable no matter what the person is. And I think everything is based on goal, context, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, there are principles and laws that work no matter what business you're in, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what country you come from. There are certain things that work and certain things that don't, and they work under every circumstance. That's why they're science. You know, and that's why I love Stephen Kotler. If you've never listened to that interview where we interviewed Stephen Kotler, I mean, he's been studying neuroscience and peak performance for literally 20 years, digging deep. And he wrote a book called The Art of Impossible. It's right behind me.
It's a great book.
And it is the science of achievement. It's how do you do the quote unquote impossible? And it's broken down so methodically based on literally 100 years of research of all the books before him and all the people before him and all the data that he's collected at the collective. So we try really hard to make data-driven decisions at NLU, and we try not to be talking heads who just have opinions. We try really hard to live in the truth and live in facts so that everyone can succeed at a higher level. And that's it. Opinions are everywhere, but achievement is a science. So be very careful.
Next level nation. Imagine yourself in Maine in summer after a wonderful day of learning from Alan, myself, and a couple other amazing humans. And you're looking at the stars and there's a fire next to you and you're roasting s'mores, and it's just the most beautiful thing you can imagine. It's at a mansion. You had a private chef that made all of your meals for the day, and you really feel like, you know what? I am in the right place right now, and there's amazing people around me. That is what we are going to create with our next level retreat. We actually had a call about it today. It is going to be Labor Day weekend, and it's way more affordable than you think. As you know, at NLU, one of our goals is not only to help people get to the next level of their personal development, their self-improvement, their awareness, we want to have a fit for everybody no matter where they are financially. So if maybe you're not in the best spot, I guarantee it is more affordable than you think. Labor Day weekend in Maine. We are super, super excited. This is the first of many, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. Anybody who is interested, please DM Alan and or myself.
If you can be consistent, there's very little over the long term that is impossible for you. If you can't be consistent, there's actually very little that is possible. We help people with that. Imagine finally being consistent at the things that you value. Imagine being surrounded by all dream chasers that are on your team. Imagine making real, tangible, measurable progress toward your goals in a team of like-minded people. We have a 6-month payment plan so that it's super, super affordable, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur to join. I know that that's a fear a lot of people have. It's like, well, is this only for entrepreneurs? No, it's for dream chasers, people who want to get to the next level. That's what we built this whole curriculum. There's going to be a workbook that you have the whole curriculum with you, and we actually have 15 people on a waiting list that we're waiting to message that didn't get into group 6, and they were like, well, now's not the time, but please message me. They asked us to message them for group 7. Group 7 is open. There are already several spots taken, and we haven't yet messaged those 15 people, so get in as soon as you possibly can. It is first come, first serve, and at the end of the day, you're going to use the app, you're going to be consistent, you're going to track your habits, you're going to be on a team of like-minded people. The WhatsApp group is on fire. I think we're averaging like 10 messages a day in there. So please join us. Group 7 is happening, and it will be the best group yet.
Second week of July?
I think so.
I think it's the 12th.
I think it's the 12th.
12th, yeah,
12th.
July 12th. And the reason we created group coaching is because, very similar to what I said, maybe you aren't in the spot where you can afford one-on-one. Maybe you want a community built in. So that is exactly why we designed group coaching the way we designed group coaching. Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 995. Last week's live podcast, the top 10 traits for a next level life. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. At NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Please reach out.